Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to FortressCraft Evolved. I'm AxionEvolved, and today we got problems. We got lots of problems, but before I get into those, do me a favor real quick, scroll down just a little bit, hit that subscribe button, help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. Ideally by the end of the year, that's the goal. Maybe we can do it sooner. It's up to you guys. But either way, I appreciate you guys clicking that button, and now let's hop right in this episode. And to be honest, our problems start right here. We have no more nickel. I think, actually, I know, I've been down there. We ran out this, the deposit we had, and so we're gonna have to resort to some other things, but we may have some solutions in the works, and I'll get to those in a second, but let me show you what else we've been doing. So last time we built this resin farm, and I've kind of fleshed it out a little bit more. As you can see, that resin is kind of going crazy right now. And we have, you know, this battery going too. I also hooked up a couple other batteries and got some placeholders going. So there's going to be a battery there. And you see the battery there. We got to put one up here somewhere, one up here. But this is just kind of illustrating how this is all going to work, right? And you can see we have resin going all the way to the top. But because we have this opening down here, if we go look outside, and at the top of the building, it hasn't broken through at all, right? So the resin is all contained within this structure, which is what we want, right? And as a result of that, we've got plenty of this stuff. I've got a bunch in my inventory somewhere. There's like 500, or there's none, I don't know, 600. So we're producing the refined liquid resin pretty nicely, but you can see we have some other issues. One of the things I was talking about was this guy right here. So I cooked a little something up in between episodes, and that's these chargeable explosives right here. So I have a level 3 and a level 2, and I don't know which one is which until we put it down, but I want to try the level 2 so that we don't just destroy all of our stuff here, right? So I'm going to find a spot, I guess over here. Now the worst case scenario would be that I do this and we don't blow up the hive mind, right? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this and make sure I have a little escape route, right? So I'm going to put this like right here. What is it? Okay, so this is our level 2. So I don't know what this explosion radius looks like, but I want to get far enough away to where I can trigger it without getting trapped, right? So I'm going to light this, and all right. And then we're going to pray. We're going to pray that it doesn't destroy our infrastructure right here. And I think that literally could not have gone any better. That is exactly what we needed. Okay, so I can clean this stuff up. That's fine. Oh, that's so perfect. But where's the brain matter? Did we lose that? I think we might have lost it. Lots of little goodies for the grinder, though. But no brain matter. Oh, never mind. It's down here. We can't leave home without the brain matter. You know what I mean? All right. Awesome. So that was that. That went so much better than that. Look at that. Belts are fine. Everything's fine. So I'll just kind of fill this in maybe this episode. But here is kind of a better example of how this works, right? So we set this up last time, and now you can kind of see that we have a little bit of backlog, right? I think we got, well, we don't have any empties in there yet, but we've got stuff queued up, and I added this little guy right here so that we could, whenever we want, just come up here, plop some iron bars in there, and it'll just pop out some empty containers that we can use to make fuel. Now, if we go around the corner here, you'll see I put another couple turbines down. And I did this because I want to hook this up and get the resin farm just really going, right? So one of the things I need to do involves moving around all those fuel containers. And to help me with that, I'm going to use matter movers. So where are they? They are somewhere. Okay, so matter movers. We shouldn't, in theory, need hoppers if I do this right, but who knows? We'll see. We will see. Oh, maybe batteries. Do I have the green batteries? That's probably the best. I do. Okay. All right, so what we want to do, we want to hit, we want a matter mover here, right? We want it to come across here and hit another matter mover right here. So we want it to go, well, I guess I want that. We want it to go like that because that will just hit where we need it to go, right? So then the goal is we put a matter mover on here, maybe. Maybe this works. There we go. So we put the matter mover there. It'll take a little bit from that, and then it will go. And we have to think about how this is going to get set up because I also want to use, so that needs power, but I also want to use another matter mover to hit that guy. Which, if we were to kind of like project out where that thing will be in space, it should be right here, right where this block is. So if I get rid of that and put that there, and I put that there. Okay, so now if I throw a matter mover right here, that should take empties, right? This is add only. This should be remove only, right? So full ones come in here. Empty ones go that way. So now I would need to power these guys, right? And what does it look like above? On one hand, I might be able to just use solar. On another hand, I could just use lasers, perhaps? So the only problem is that takes like a couple batteries. It's not the most ideal way to do things. I can put a battery there. You know what? Maybe I'll just try to dig a little hole right here. We'll go up here and we'll see if that will expose some sun. All right, so confirmed there is sun up there. The question now becomes, will it accept these here solar panels? So let's see. Because that should be enough. I don't, the throughput is not so high that it wouldn't. Okay, that's collecting, that's collecting. So there you go. I mean, that's, in theory, that's enough, right? And it'll kind of get itself more. Worst case scenario, I can also use these guys. I've got some of that stuff saved up. So these give you, I think, 40, 45 or something like that. So if throughput becomes an issue, we can always use that. But for now, I think that's just what we're going to do. Okay. So while that's kind of doing its thing, I assume it's just going to work, right? I don't have any reason to believe it wouldn't work. Let's go take a look at some other things that I'm doing and some things that I want to try to get done this episode. And the first starts with this right here. You'll notice we have a bit of output here. I don't know why we're backed up down here. What is not transmitting? Titanium. That's not as exciting, but that's fine. We can kind of clear this stuff up by grabbing some of the resources. But in order to help solve my lack of tier 2, as you can see, oh, I mean, I guess the titanium is doing okay. We got, I mean, one little jostle down there should clear everything up. But what I decided to do, we have tons and tons and tons of all these other materials. So what I figured, especially tin, we have multiple ways we're getting tin. So what I decided to do, and you may have seen it when I went down here, is I took that tin deposit. That is 12 million tin. And I just ran a belt over here and I just popped it up. Oh, let's get to the stairs. Oh, there we go. So we're starting to clear out. And I just popped it up and I have all of that tin ore feeding directly into macerators, right? So this right now it's 6 macerators. It could be more. And the reason I'm doing that is because when you macerate different ores, right? When you macerate copper, iron, tin, I believe, and this is, again, this is all according to the wiki, you have a 20% chance of producing lithium or a tier 2 ore. And as you can see, there's a decent amount of tier 2 ore. Now, this is not a fast process, but I think it could be faster. So one of the things I'm contemplating doing, right? We'll have this output here, but I might create like a room. Maybe not a room necessarily, but I want to create something maybe in this area where all of this ore, and I might even upgrade these to pipes to get it over here, but I want to have all of this feeding into as many macerators as I possibly can, just to help supplement our tier 2 ore production. And I mean, you can see like it's outputting, it's getting us ore, but it's just bottlenecking. So I'll kind of clear that up so it can work. But I think this could be a nice little supplement to what we find, because right now we're just relying on finding big deposits like this to get our ore right now. And at least this way, these 4 ores are much harder to get than the other 3. I mean, copper and tin are literally just millions and millions, like right here on the surface. So that's super easy. Like here's another, here's some deposits. So we can even scale that up. Look at all that down there. Tin. This is probably all part of the same tin vein, right? There's coal. Now coal is another thing. Coal itself will not macerate into ore, but construction paste blocks will. So we could do something very similar to what we're already doing over here, where we can just set up construction paste grinders like so, and just feed those into macerators. And that would be, I mean, I don't know if that's closer to the spirit of trying to get all of our ore through quarries and macerators and stuff, but I think it's a much more interesting way of doing it as opposed to going down and just mining it like normal, which is how you would normally play this game. And to help me out in that endeavor, right? Something we talked about on the last episode. Let's go back to the area we cleared over here. Now, this little block right here is somewhat important, right? Some of you, I think I did this in the last episode. I made this little geological surveyor. So if I plop that guy right down where this block was, and I power it up, we can kind of see, it'll start showing us what is down under this surveyor, right? And there's a bunch of coal, but there's also just a ton. And it's 189K right now, but once it gets a little bit deeper, boom, 1 million, 1.5. Yeah, I think it might get over 2 million if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so 4 million, 4.6. So this to me appears like it's a pretty resource rich spot of land, right? So to help me with that, I'm going to employ this guy right here, a Mark II quarry. Now, this is one of the mods we have, and there's a reason I went with the Mark II versus the Mark I, right? So if we look at kind of the difference, Mark I quarry, it gives us 20% or 20% efficiency, limited depth. I don't know what the depth is, but it's limited. I figure with the Mark II quarry, we're getting a bigger area and 50% efficiency on the ores that we do come across. And you can see it was not cheap. Massive facetized fortified PCBs. This had titanium bars to cut, so it's just, they're not the fastest things in the world to make. And then there's this guy too. And it's just kind of crazy. I mean, it's not so crazy that we couldn't make it, but I want to play with this before we just go all out. So what I'm going to do first, let's give it some blocks. I don't know how many blocks it's going to need. So let's see here. I guess I'll just make like 50 or something. Okay, so this took 144 blocks. So that's 12 by 12. Well, that's more than 12 by 12, I think. Well, I know that is 12 by 12, but that's a huge area. So, okay, so what do we got to confirm? All right, so that's confirmed. I'm going to take this stuff. Now, this has no power, but this is going to take a ton of power. So what I want to do is I want to set up the outputs, right? And we're going to do this. We'll have all the outputs there. But what I also want to do is throw down some like serious power, right? So I'm going to do this. We're going to give it its own tier 4 battery. All right, so I don't know what went on there. It looks like all the materials I put on there just disappeared. I restarted the game and lost them. So for now, I guess I'm just going to leave that as it is. But what I want to do, and what I'm still going to get set up over here, are a couple of these here turbines. So I don't know why that's way over there. I don't even know if this thing's digging yet. We'll kind of see. What I'm going to do though... What is this? How does this have a hole in it? All right, so to prepare for this, I'm going to put these turbines somewhere over here. Now, I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them, you know, a decent amount away, because who knows how we're going to redo this. And I have enough for 2 turbines. So I'm going to kind of do this with a little gap in the middle, right? And the gap is strictly for the fuel to kind of traverse in and out, right? Okay. So not only does that give us the ability to, let's say, remove only. I'll do this. Add only. All right, so we'll do empties on top, full on the bottom. So now I can access the fuel from this side, but also I can transmit the power, right? And so really I should just need to kind of do something like that. And in theory, that's hitting the block, and eventually that should give us all the power we need, right? So to help with all of this though, I'm going to use, oh, you know what? I'm going to move these in. I'm going to move, well, I guess for the full ones, it doesn't matter, right? The full ones I can just do right there still, and that'll be remove only. So this is where it'll grab fuel. But for the empties, I want to put that right there, because then what I can do is throw the matter mover on. Just like that. And that way that matter mover is powered from the turbines themselves. And so now it's just a matter of making the network of matter movers go through this mountain and traverse this area to hit way back over here. Now, if you're thinking that's not the most efficient way to do things, you know what? You might be right. You might be absolutely right. But we're going to try it. How's this going? So that's just full. What are you doing? Do you have... So you have an empty. I wonder why it's not... Is it because it's add only? Was that all it needed? Did that transmit? It did. Okay. So now we know. Now we know. Just need to be add or remove. Okay, so that's fine. What we will need to do is make a split over here of some kind. I'm going to need to make a target. I have the empties going up a little high, so I'm going to need to make a target for these guys to go, and then I'm also going to need to split some of this off. That should be trivial because I can just use like a priority splitter, and I'll prioritize, or either that, or I can do like a turntable to actually truly split. But I think the resin farm being up is a bigger deal, right? I think the resin farm needs to be a bigger deal. So I'm going to try to chart out a path, but the shortest path possible between here and over there. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I will bring you guys back as soon as that is done. All right, so we got that built. Now let's do a priority splitter, right? I think right there is fine, right? And then what we can do is we can kind of cut that out, throw in a logistics grommet, and we just kind of attach those up, right? And then what I'll do is I'll do that. And then I'll do that. And then we should be good to go. So if I have this all wired up correctly, essentially I just have this path where the bottom's going to that miner. The top is bringing empties home. There shouldn't be a whole lot possible to get caught up in the system. And you can see it's just, you know, there's just like a little chain that goes all the way over to here. Now, unfortunately, I have all the power the power is supposed to be generating from this side. So I guess what I need to do is throw some fuel in here and kind of let it do its thing, right? So now we just got to kind of wait for the power to trickle through the system, right? Start seeing batteries fill up. Once we start seeing batteries fill up, we know that the power is flowing. It might be worth it again to use the bigger power storage or the laser energy transmitters, just so that it like kind of saturates the system. Have you sent anything? Oh, there we go. So it's sending empties back. Okay, so I think the system so far seems to work. What I'm going to do actually is maybe I'm going to start filling or powering up this side. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this just so I can see the empties coming back. You know what I mean? But I can kind of kickstart this system, right? All right, so I was having some issues with those Mark 1 laser energy transmitters. So I just threw some Mark 5s on there, or Mark 3s, and that got things going super quick. You can see we got the first canisters in. So I'm also going to kind of plus up this system a little bit. But let's go check on that Quarry, the Mark II Quarry, and just kind of see what's going on there. All right, so I went ahead and just rebuilt the Quarry. Maybe that'll help. I don't see it outputting yet though. So I'm not 100% sure what it's doing. Yeah, this might just be something I have to look at in between episodes. Right? Because there's nothing in there. And it's got plenty of power. Oh. We've got stuff. We've got stuff. Okay. Awesome. Now I'm not going to have to. Holy. So this is getting right now 1100 power per second from this. 1120, or at least it will once this kind of all spools up, right? But I mean, I think that'll be enough for now. It looks like I'll be able to put it on a bigger... oh, wow. Okay, we're going to need to make... I wasn't ready for this. We've got to make the processing area for this real quick. Okay, so when we're planning the output for that quarry over there, I've gone ahead and put these hoppers in here. And these will kind of serve as somewhere that we can deposit the outputs from this, right? So first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need a filter for everything, right? Just like we did on all the other ones. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of have all three lines come out, right? You know, a certain amount, maybe like so. And then I'm thinking I might just have them... Oh, let me think. I kind of probably actually want... Dang, I should have waited. I probably want a gap between them though, right? Because I don't think a single line is going to be kind of sufficient for this. So what I'm going to need to do, right, is do something like this maybe. Because I'm going to need to have them cross over each other. Although I guess in theory this is all going to be hitting the same thing. Like if it's hitting one vein, you know, like if it hits a vein, it's all going to hit the same vein. But because I can't guarantee that necessarily, what I'm going to do instead is set up my filter. Set up the filters, right? So I guess my options are I'll do smeltable stuff that way. Non-smeltable stuff will process kind of over here, right? So I can come out just kind of like a certain amount. So we go smeltable or not smeltable, smeltable. Not smeltable, smeltable. Not smeltable, smeltable. All right, and then we just kind of plop down our hoppers. And you've all seen me do this before. So I know we're kind of cutting a little bit in this episode, but there's there's way more going on than I thought. So I'll just cut to when I have this all built, and then I'll just do a little quick overview so you guys remember what it's all about. All right, so I've got the baseline hooked up. I haven't hooked anything up to any lines yet because I just haven't. It's a lot of work, right? So the general principle is if it's smeltable, it goes that way. If it's not smeltable, aka it's an ore, it's going to come this way and go up kind of these series of lifts that, because this is so tight, I couldn't kind of do the same stair step here that I wanted to do, like I kind of did over there. So, they're going up a bunch of separate ways, but then they're going to come down here and then they're going to fan back out. And I'm still undecided about whether I want to go underground, maybe have a little line right here and have the belts, come on the bottom side. So like if we go down here, have them run across here, and then wherever those hoppers are that I put down, have them just hit, have them attach to the hoppers right there, or run them on top of what we have already and have them hit these hoppers on the top. I just don't know. On one hand, it might be nice to do it on the bottom so that we can kind of see which side isn't producing. But at a certain point, it's almost like I don't care which side isn't producing as long as stuff's coming in, right? So these are just kind of decisions that are going to have to get made. I'll kind of play around with both. I'm going to still do the same kind of waterfall design as I did over there with the belts, only we've got 4 instead of 5. This thing may be able to handle 5 belts. I don't know. In which case I could kind of do that. But the fourth line here is just the output from these guys right here. What do we call these? The macerators, right? So I'm actually short 1 macerator, so I'm going to have to get that. But for now, this will work. It'll do its job. And look, we already got some lithium going. And this thing's just, this thing seems to be going fine. It's got enough juice. I think we're going to need to plus that up for when, in fact, I can just, oh God, that's not what I want to do. Can I get this without dying? That is the key. All right, awesome. What I can do is just plop another one on there and then just take this guy and just plop it like that. And then I can make another. So these are using exceptional organic lenses, right? Which takes it from 320 max to 1120 max, right? So, and these guys at full power both give me 1800 per second. So that's more than enough, right? We're getting more than enough on those 2 batteries. So we'll kind of see. That should be plenty. Yeah, so I think I wanted to get a little bit more done this episode. I want to do the resin farm, but I think this video is already going to run long as it is. So next time for sure, we're going to finish off the resin farm and we're going to finish off doing this. I'll make sure I collect all the materials and all that so that we're good with whatever we're going to need to do here. And then, yeah, so that's the plan for next time. Thank you guys so much. I hope you're enjoying this series. It's definitely a little bit different than what I did last season, but I'm enjoying it all the same. I actually kind of can't wait to get the frozen factory portion of it done too. I've already got the research that I can start unlocking, and I may do that here in the not too distant future because there's some stuff that we're going to need from down there, like chrome polished lenses, so we can use tier 4 batteries with conduits, which means once we get that, then we can really start getting these matter movers in play with the induction pads and the tier 4 batteries under them and turbines and matter movers and all kinds of stuff, and the conduits. And then we also need to figure out where we're going to plop down that OET, because I would love to get rid of that overmind, just that one for now. We don't necessarily need to kill any of the overminds because that's not, it doesn't help or hurt us really. So that's kind of the short to medium term goals. So I'm kind of rambling now. So thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you think about everything down below in the comments. And with that, we'll see you in the next one.